Okay, so here I am on my laptop, and let's go through the video scripts because there's a few things that I really want to point out and make sure that you get. Number one, in the very first video, the thing that I want you to see, and this is crucial across the board for all of your videos, is that I jump right in. There's no, fluff. There's no, clearing my throat, so to speak. There's no kind of build up. I jump right in. I don't start with an introduction for me, excuse me. I immediately jump in and attempt to hook the prospect in. And so I go right into, imagine having a marketing funnel with its own brain, one that interacts with, responds to, and adapts to who your prospects are, right? And so I get right into it. And I attach this kind of unique idea, if you will, right? Having a marketing funnel with its own brain to the benefit right here. So if you look at this, you could see, right? So your funnel knows what to say and when to say it right here. So your prospects buy faster, buy more often, and buy at a higher rate than you've ever experienced before. And then only once I've dangled that out there do I just say, "Hi, my name is Todd Brown," and welcome them to the video series. Now, one of the other things that I want you to notice is that I always attempt to really kind of set the hook, so to speak, in the prospect. In other words, at the beginning of the video, especially video 1 in the series, I'm laying it on at the beginning. I'm taking out all the benefits, all the promises, all the claims that I'm going to substantiate and back up, and I lay it out. So I immediately go back into, over the next 4 videos, you're going to see a staggering advancement in marketing funnel function and conversion rate optimization. What you're about to see wasn't even possible, but it's now. Again, more benefit over here. Right, I'm going to show you throughout this series how simple it is for you to experience those same results. So one of the things that you'll see is that laying it on, there's a bit of repetition, but without saying the same thing over and over. So if we look up here, right, so your prospects buy faster, buy more often, and buy at a higher rate. And then over here I say, right, consistent double-digit sales conversion rates, which is kind of a different benefit. Over here I say marketing funnel function and conversion rate maximization. Another way of kind of saying that. I talk about how simple it is for them to experience it. The other thing that I want you to see is, I just want to point out, is if we go up to the top, you could see the word, if you count up the word you and your, you'll see your, you'll see your, you, let me see here. And then as I really get into it, your, the little guy I got now is giving one time consistent. Let's see. I'm going to show you how simple it is for you. By the end of our time together, you'll know why this new type of marketer put up. And you could, if you go through, you'll, all of these focused on the prospect, yourself, you, and the point that I'm trying to point out here for you is the steady focus on the prospect and actually using words like you, your, you'll, you've, so that the prospect sees that this is fully about them. And so here's the big promise of the actual marketing funnel. By the end of our time together, you'll not only understand why this new type of marketing funnel often converts at 2 or 3 times, blah, blah, blah. You'll understand exactly how to quickly set it up in your own business to experience an immediate and radical leap in sales and new customers for yourself. See how this is kind of the same benefit, but it's just stated differently. Immediately then I cover a common objection, right? You don't need any expensive or advanced software to do it. You don't need to change your current email autoresponder. So I cover a big objection, big concern right here is that, do I need expensive software, tools, equipment, website, whatever, blah, 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 to do this? And the answer is no. And then I wanted to open up a loop and give the prospect a reason to stay around. And so I say, in fact, all the simple tools that I use to do what you're about to see, you can get for free. And I'll tell you exactly how later in this video series. So I'll tell you how. This is referring to in video 4 when I talk about that they can when they enroll in the Smart Funnel Formula training program, they get these tools for free as part of the program. But so what I did was I gave them a reason to stick around, and I opened a loop right over here. I'll tell you exactly how later in this video series. Then I go into the credentializing part. Right? So who am I and why should you pay close attention to what I'm sharing with you in this training? And so I give this paragraph right here to credentialize who I am, and then I make sure that they understand that, like, look, the only reason why I'm really telling you this is so that you can feel comfortable knowing that everything in this video is spot on accurate. And if you look at the way this was said, right? This is, I don't tell you that to brag, but simply so that you feel comfortable knowing that everything you're about to see and get in this video series is based on real world results. This is another one of those presuppositions, right? So, right, I'm talking about, right, I'm telling you this just so that you can feel comfortable knowing, right, that everything in this video series is based on real world results, right? It's everything in this video series is based on real world results. Like, you can't even think about feeling comfortable or confident unless, as the prospect, you accept that everything in this video is based on real world results, and it's been tested and proven. Now, over here, I want you to see this. This is like a bit of, I forget the name of this exact method, but you see how I say, like, since you're watching this video, you already know how critical having a marketing funnel is to your business success, right? So I wanted to make sure that we establish the fact that, like, look, a funnel is critical. And so rather than me coming out and just simply saying, you know, a marketing funnel is critical to your business success, which is, even in this context, which is a claim that I would then have to back up with proof, I did it by simply saying, like, look, since you're watching this video, you already know that it's critical. You already know how important it is. You already know that you need it. Right? And so it allows me to make that claim without having to go back and prove it. And it forces the prospect to really come to this realization, if they don't already, that if I'm saying this, it's because everybody else already knows that having a marketing funnel is critical to their success. Right? So it's just, again, it's a way for me to make sure that they are nodding in agreement, saying yes, without having to go back and prove this point, right? And so I do it, I elaborate on it, right? So you already know that how critical having a marketing funnel is. You already know that having an effective marketing funnel is, you know, one that allows you to adequately convert traffic into sales is the lifeblood of your business, right? So this is establishing, making sure that the prospect believes that the key to their success online is a marketing funnel, a properly designed, effective marketing funnel. And excuse me. Then I go on to say, well, I go on to cover a thought process and a belief, if you will, that a lot of marketers have, and that is that a lot of marketers that are struggling, they think that their struggle is coming from a lack of website traffic. Well, in this context, I can't allow a prospect to believe that, because if they believe that their problem, their lack of sales, is due to a lack of traffic, then they're going to think the answer to their problem is getting more traffic. And so part of the beliefs that I need them to have is that more traffic isn't the answer, that more traffic is only the answer when you have a conversion vehicle in place that can turn that additional traffic into sales. And so in order to establish that belief, that's what this section is for. I had to prove this entire section right here is all about establishing the belief in their mind that, like, look, traffic is not your problem, conversion is your problem. Until you fix your conversion problem, more traffic isn't going to do anything for you, and here's proof. So I say, right, today there are lots of marketers who still think that their lack of sales is due to a website traffic problem. Fact is, today, with the dozens of different traffic generation options, channels, any problem getting traffic is just a symptom of an underlying problem with your funnel, right? In fact, in the years that I've been guiding, I've never seen, so this becomes proof. This little dozens of different traffic generation options, channel sources is proof for the fact that, like, your problem isn't a lack of traffic, right? I said, no, if a marketer can't afford to invest in traffic to drive visitors into their marketing funnel, the problem is not traffic. The problem is their marketing funnel simply can't blah, blah, blah. This is really, again, this is putting the cap on, look, if you can't afford to pay for traffic, you don't have a traffic problem, you have a funnel problem, and that's why you need to pay attention to what I'm sharing with you today. Remember in the prior video, I explained that video 1 was really all about the what and why. What are we talking about? Well, what we're talking about is this. Why are we talking about it? Well, to your problems right here. And then right here's a bit of a payoff. Once you have the properly designed marketing funnel that converts, blah, 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 you'll never have any difficulty getting all the traffic you want, right? And then I say, again, really establishing this. So it just all comes down to this, that, look, every visitor has a cost. Now I'm sharing this in this video because I want the prospect to think a little differently, right? I don't want them to think, all right, Facebook charges me $1, a click or 50 cents a click. I want them to recognize that the way this whole world of traffic generation works is that every visitor, right, has a cost associated with it. And until you can extract out more than that cost per visitor, nothing else matters, and you need to focus 100% of your attention on developing a marketing funnel that does that, because that's the whole lifeblood of this business, right? And so I say, like, here's the cost, right? Look, as long as your marketing funnel converts at a high enough rate to extract out more, right, you're in the winner's circle. And that's the problem for most marketers, that most simply don't, right? And so then I say most simply don't have a funnel, right? Maybe that's the situation that you're in right now. And maybe you've tried the traditional approaches and still with no substantial results. So I'm bringing it home now and making it more personal. And then I put more salt in the wound, so to speak, and say I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is, and then I talk about that, look, as competition continues to increase online, like, you're only going to see the cost per visitor go up, right? And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to create more need to solve the conversion problem. I'm trying to establish and show them the massive urgent need for having a marketing funnel that does allow you to convert at the current cost and future higher cost. And so that's what I'm doing here. That's why I went bad news. You got competition. As that continues to increase, you've got costs will go up. And then I start to go into the need for smart marketing, right? The smart, marketing intelligence. Combine that with the growing demand by internet users for more tailored experiences, right? And you can see why the traditional static marketing funnel model, as we come to know them, are quickly becoming less and less effective. So what am I doing here? Well, what I'm doing here is I am first creating this more pain associated with, like, not having a marketing funnel that converts at a high enough rate. And then over here, now I'm beginning to establish the need for a smart funnel, not just a regular ordinary funnel, right? So now remember, it's one thing for me in this marketing funnel to establish the need for a funnel, but there's a lot of options for for funnel models and methods and training. And so this is now about me beginning to establish the need for a smart funnel and why it's becoming more and more critical and more essential and more necessary, right? And so now I go into that, right? As marketing technology continues to mature and become more intelligent, it's allowing for more personalized, tailored experiences, right? And as these new intelligent marketing methods continue to become more and more commonplace, users are becoming more sophisticated and coming to expect them more and more, right? So number one, I'm talking about how as these new methods are becoming more common for internet users in terms of users are experiencing these personalized, customized, tailored, smart marketing methods, marketing funnels, they're coming to expect it more and more, right? And so they're coming to respond at higher and higher levels to intelligent marketing, and they're responding less and less to static, one size fits all, generic marketing messages that are designed to appeal to everybody. And so I'm kind of doing two things. One, I'm trying to show the prospect that their market is coming to expect it more and more and wants it from them and will respond in a greater volume if they get that experience, and if they don't, they won't. The other thing that I'm doing is talking about over here you could see as these new intelligent marketing methods continue to become more and more commonplace, showing them that your competitors are adopting these methods, right? Your competitors are using these methods. And so if you don't use these methods, you are falling behind. So your competitors are using these methods, costs are rising per user, you're already struggling with a common static funnel, and your market is coming to expect it more and more. And so now I'm beginning to pit the old school static funnel, which you'll see that I refer to it as the static funnel throughout the rest of the training, the video series now. I'm pitting it against the smart funnel, the marketing intelligence. I'm creating two different groups, right? You can belong to the static, typical marketing funnel crowd, and these are what the things that you're going to be dealing with, the things that you're going to have to deal with, or you can be part of this group, right? And this was something that I saw my buddy Rich Schefren many years ago do extraordinarily well when, with the Internet Business Manifesto, when he created these two groups. You could either be an opportunity seeker, you could be a strategic entrepreneur. Here's the difference between the two, and here's ultimately the payoff of the negatives of being an opportunity seeker, and here's the benefit of being a strategic entrepreneur. And so now we're beginning that process of, again, segmenting. You can either have a static marketing funnel or you can have a dynamic smart funnel. And here's the negatives of the static. Here's the positives of the smart funnel. And so, right? So again, the static funnel is becoming obsolete, and soon using the static funnel will become a massive disadvantage. So now you're talking about competitive disadvantage that prospects are responding less and less. And so I say over here, and soon using a static marketing funnel will become a massive competitive disadvantage. And then I offer proof. To quote Matt Ackerson, blah, 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 from Crazy Egg. So we're borrowing, I'm using a third party quote to back up and offer proof for what it is that I just said from Crazy Egg. And so here it is, full quote. And now I start to get into the smart funnel model, right? So, and because of the new smart funnel model, double-digit sales conversions are becoming more and more commonplace. And now I'm tying this back in with the lesson of each visitor has a cost, right? That it's those radically higher conversion rates that allow you to profitably tap into all the best traffic and customer acquisition sources. And then now I go into the good news, right? Because in the rest of this video, I'm going to share with you what a smart funnel is, how and why it works to produce such high results, conversion rates, for you, and how to quickly get one, that should be one, set up in your own business. And so now look, I want to show you something else. I say because in the rest of this video series, I'm going to show you how and why it works to produce such high conversion rates for you. You should begin now to see the presuppositions used intentionally. That sentence was strategically and intentionally structured that way because, right, if you look, in order to even contemplate this statement, in order to even get excited about this statement, in order for the prospect to even think about what's about to come, they have to accept the fact that, okay, so I'm going to learn how and why this thing works to produce such high sales conversion rates. They have to accept the fact that it works to produce such high conversion rates, right? You can't contemplate this idea of how and why unless you subconsciously accept the fact that it does produce such high conversion rates. The only thing that they're thinking about is, okay, so let me see how and why it does this, right? And so very important, little languaging, little sentence structuring, tips are huge. So then I go into what is it, right? What is it over here? And so I give kind of the technical description, and then I wanted to break it down even more into something that they could relate to and picture in their mind. And so I gave kind of a different metaphor of, static marketing funnel is like a one-sided monologue, whereas a smart funnel is more of a step-by-step conversation, interactive presentation, similar to that of an attentive salesperson, right? So now I kind of introduce in the context of this video series for the first time, the whole attentive salesperson metaphor. And then I go into backing up, like, why that's valuable, right? Like, why that's valuable. I say, think about it, right? How much higher would your sales conversion rate be if you had a real live sales professional, salesperson doing all of your marketing and selling for you instead of just an ordinary static funnel? And then I go in, right? We all know that the personalization, right? Saying this as if this was an accepted fact, that the personalization, responsiveness, and interaction that comes with a prospect meeting with a salesperson produces substantially higher sales conversion rates. Then I quote Salesforce, right? 20 to 40%. And then, of course, I don't want them, I want to, make a damaging admission, if you will, but it's really not, where I say, now I'm not saying that with a smart funnel you'll have sales conversion rates as high as 20 to 40%, but you can certainly see why marketers are seeing a doubling, tripling, even quadrupling, right? So this allows me to, I'm anchoring that a smart funnel is like a salesperson. And so salespeople convert anywhere from 20 to 40%. Now look, I'm not saying that you'll convert at 20 to 40%, but you can certainly see why a smart funnel can double your conversions or triple your conversions or quadruple your conversions, right? Like, even if somebody's converting at 2%, that this would be 4, 6, 8, so on. The other thing is that, look at the way this is written. I say, but you can certainly see why marketers are seeing a doubling, tripling, even quadrupling of sales. Again, you can see why, right? Like, presupposition, marketers are seeing a doubling, tripling, even quadrupling of sales conversions when using a smart funnel, right? So just pay attention to those little things when you go back and you read through the script. And then I drive it home again, right? That you see, having your own smart funnel is like having your own living, breathing salesperson. And because it functions just like a living, breathing salesperson. And so let me see, what else did I want to point out for you? Now, I wanted to tie this whole idea of a smart funnel to an example, a simple example of marketing intelligence that the prospect could relate to. And so what I did was I attached it to retargeting, right? And I said, like, look, the start of marketing funnels is nothing new, right? It's being used right now by big companies, right? Over the past 18 to 24 months, it's really come about more and more. For example, retargeting. So to attach it to a frame that existed in the prospect's mind already, right? And then I say it as if it's a fact, as if it's well known, as if all of the savviest marketers know it, that that retargeting has dramatically increased our ability as marketers to display the right message to the right prospect, and that's why retargeting done right produces such a high ROI. So what I'm saying is, look, smart funnel marketing intelligence has been around. An example, retargeting. Everybody already knows that retargeting dramatically has increased our ability to use, marketing intelligence the right way, and that's why retargeting done right produces such a high ROI. So what I'm really proving here is that one little example of marketing intelligence, one little example is one the prospect already knows, the prospect is already aware of, the prospect already hears others talking about it, and this one little example is producing such a high ROI, right? Backing up and reinforcing that marketing intelligence works. Now, over here, I wanted to introduce the fact that I've been talking about marketing intelligence for 2 years, right? Because there's a popular marketer that everybody knows by name that recently around the time of the Smart Funnel Formula video series was talking about behavioral triggers and dynamic email sequences, stuff that I introduced over 2 years ago in the MFA coaching program. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that that behavioral triggered email sequences was first taught by me, that it's nothing new based on this marketer kind of talking about it now. And so I said I introduced our community to the use of behavioral triggers and dynamic email sequencing 2 years ago. And then I say, and I actually show on this particular slide, excuse me. I show a screen capture of that marketer, what that marketer said. I said, right, and even though today there are lots of smart marketers, I was really only giving an example of one marketer that consider these the holy grail of internet marketing, because that's what's said on that marketer's sales page. They're just the tip of the iceberg, right? They're nothing new, and it's nothing compared to what we can do now. And so then I open up another loop. In fact, in the upcoming videos in this series, you're going to come to understand even more methods. And so then I drop out unique mechanisms: internal retargeting, dynamic bonus stacking, promise personalization, blah, 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 right? But then I pull it back, right? But I'm getting ahead of myself here. For today, with this introductory video, I simply want you to begin to think about this, right? Again, driving home this metaphor. How would a real live salesperson talk differently, and function differently than a static funnel, right? And what's the difference? And I want you to take the difference with you into the next video. And so let me see. And so, right, and over here, think about the difference. I want to show you something. Think about the difference in the impact this will have on your business. Not this could have, but this will have on your business. So I describe, right, in the next video, I'm going to show you exactly how together we're going to bring that vision to life with your own smart funnel, a funnel that intelligently, blah, 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 does this, to drive your sales conversions through the roof, right? So the smart funnel drives your sales conversions through the roof. Now, and then I future pace them. Think about the difference in the impact this will have on your business. Without spending another dime on traffic, on software, on outsourcers, or on anything else with smart, you can easily experience double the results, sales, new customers, and revenue growth. How much more will each visitor be worth you? How many more channels will you be able to use? How many more new customers will you be getting, right? And how much more revenue and income will your online business be producing for you, right? And so this is future pacing and kind of getting them to envision in their mind, bring this to reality, right? And then I say, as I see it 2 years ago when I first introduced, it was about giving you an opportunity to leap ahead. Today, it's about not falling behind, right? And so giving urgency to this video series, right? And that's what we're gonna do. And so I tease the fact that we just scratched the surface. I then again tease the fact that, right, we're going to get down and dirty in the next video so that they can see firsthand benefits for themselves. Again, what they're going to see, it's a typo, you'll not only understand how to launch your own smart funnel, but you'll have massive competitive advantage, right? So another type of benefit over here, and then I ask for a comment. Let's go on to video 2. Okay, so I start up, hey, again, it's Todd. Welcome back to the second video. And then I go right into what they're going to get, right? As promised in this video, we're going to get down and dirty. I'm simply going to give you a handful of really powerful ways. And I'm going to share one smart funnel tactic in particular that you can implement today that not only bumps conversions, it turns a higher percentage of first-time visitors. So right, and here's the payout, right? It turns a higher percentage of first-time visitors into buyers right away. This way, benefit. You experience a hefty leap in sales from this one video alone, kind of giving them something that they can act on. And open loop. More about that one tactic in just a bit. Let me see. I also say, right, I give more, I lay it on. Remember I said with the last video, I'm setting that hook, right? In this video, I'm also going to walk you through this, that you can, kind of telling them, this is what I'm going to walk you through, and this is the payoff. This way you see an even greater increase in overall sales growth, new customers, and lead acquisition. Another open loop. More about that later in this video. So look right here, open loop, open loop, and still laying it on. If that wasn't enough, I'm also going to introduce you to the smart funnel model so that when you're ready to start generating consistent sales with a new funnel, you're armed with the most effective way to do that. And look at this, I say also, and as promised, I'm even going to show you how to get your own copy of these simple tools for free. More about that later in our series. So look, again, open loop, open loop, open loop. Look at the 3 open loops right in the first page. So let me see. Now I go into the actual educational process where I actually demonstrate, I show them, right, how this works. So now you could see, like I said in the in our last video, this is the transformational education. So now I am showing them, what happens over here if they have a static funnel and what happens compared to if they had a smart funnel. And so I start off with a simple example, and then I show what happens with a static, and then I show what happens with a smart funnel and how it works. And then I give another example, right? And I took examples that from different parts of the funnel. This is about the sales video. This is about the upsell. And so what I'm doing is I'm comparing and contrasting the static experience, the static funnel, to a smart funnel, right? So it's almost like a before and all the negatives, right? Like, so you instantly miss out on the opportunity to sell them something, right? You risk upsetting your customer, right? It's costing you money, all the negatives associated with the static funnel. And then I go into the after with the smart funnel. And I go on to another example, do the same thing. This is kind of before, and this is after. And so I show them, and the showing of them, right? It's I'm showing them what is happening, right, and showing them what could be happening with a smart funnel compared to, like I said, a static funnel and the outcome. And then I establish the value for for what I just showed them. Now look, in the last few minutes, I just showed you 3 ultra simple examples. And so I said, let me ask you a question, right? I want to show them that with just what it is that I just showed, if they knew how to do that, if they could implement that, if they had the tools and the ability to do that, do they think that they'd be making more money, right? And I say the better question is, how much more money would you be making? But we're just scratching the surface. So planting the seed, like, look, you could be making more money from just those 3 things that I just showed you, let alone everything else that you're gonna get. And so and now I continue with the education, right? So now let's talk a bit about how you can use some funnel intelligence to transform a static website and blog into a powerful marketing and revenue generating machine. And then I go into, again, kind of a before and after. This is before, right? Let me see here. Where do I get into? Okay. Over here now, the smart funnel. So I say, look, this is probably your experience. And now what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself how much more effective each of these things that I'm about to show you would make your site at generating leads, generating new customers, and generating sales for you. And then I go through each of these things, and I'm constantly tying it back. You think your conversions would go up from that? Of course they would, right? And then I go on to the next one, the next tip. And then I say, right, after that tip, just think of the power of having this kind of marketing intelligence, right? Again, how much greater do you think your opt-in rate, purchase rate, and overall sales rate would be right now if you had just this one piece of marketing intelligence, right? Establishing value for each and every piece of transformational education that I'm giving. And then I go on to the next tip over here. Let me just see something. And now I talk about, right, like everything happens automatically. You can do it on your whole site, on specific pages. So now I'm showing them that we have options, that we don't have to just do it, right? So I'm dealing with a potential concern. You don't only have to use this on one page or on every page or have a fully dynamic sidebar. You can have one little image, 2 images, the whole site, one page, whatever, right? And opening up to them, like we could have a different headline. We could go as deep or as wide as we want. And so, and I say, I don't want to overwhelm you right here. So addressing that. Then I give the one tip that I mentioned earlier. So now I'm coming back to close this loop, and I talk about the first visit incentive. And really what I do is I show what it is and why and how it works, right? And that's really what that's what I'm doing in this section over here. And now let me see. And then see, and I say, and that's why the first visit incentive, blah blah blah, on the market is so effective at immediately increasing conversions and speeding up how quickly a chunk of prospects convert to new customers, right? Right, like I'm saying, like, that's why it works to do this, right? So like that presupposes that that it's so effective at immediately increasing, again, the presuppositional statement. And so that is video 2. I just want to see something for you. You can see that I lay out. So I also say over here, there are so many additional, even more powerful methods of adding marketing intelligence. I say that because I don't want them to think that what I just showed them is everything. So that if there's 1 or 2 things that they'd be interested in that I didn't show, they still are hoping that maybe I'll show it in the next video, right? I didn't want prospects to think that everything I shared with them, or what I shared with them, was everything that they could do. And see how always tying it back, right? Double-digit sales conversions, tying it back to benefits, and then asking for another comment. Let's go to script 3. So script 3. So I started off I started script 3 off with a little pattern interrupt, the little leprechaun video. I used the leprechaun video because number one, I thought that it would be a pattern interrupt, and I thought it was kind of, it was illustrative of the dynamic VSL, right? Because in that little clip, it talks about, tell Liam what to do. And so it was kind of demonstrating this whole idea of interactivity in a VSL, and I knew I was going to be talking about that in this particular video, right? And so I immediately start out by saying, I'll tell you what Liam the Leprechaun has to do with your smart funnel in just a bit. Opening a loop, right? It's actually one of the most exciting pieces of what we can do today with marketing intelligence. More about that in just a bit. So, right, showing them that there is relevance to that little pattern interrupt clip, that it's not just a bogus, weird thing that I put there, and opening this loop, right? And then immediately in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 8-point smart funnel model. Show you how to jack up your, show you how it jacks up your conversions at every step of your funnel, and how to set the whole thing up so that you can start experiencing double-digit sales conversions. And then I cover a concern right off the bat. The beauty is that it can be used as a primary funnel model, or for a new funnel you're launching, or you can use it layered on top of any existing funnel model. And so this was important because folks were wondering, like, well, what if I'm already using a survey funnel or the 6-figure funnel, or an evergreen launch funnel? Well, so I'm showing them that that's cool. You can layer marketing intelligence right on top of all of that. And then I remind them of the reason to kind of continue to watch, right? Everything you're about to see is easily set up and powered by just 2 simple tools that I didn't create and tools that I'm not selling. And as promised, I'll show you how to get these tools for free. And then again, more. What else are you going to get? I'm also going to show you a couple of advanced tactics that you can benefit from right away by letting their built-in marketing intelligence go to work for you. Look at the way this is written, right? That you can benefit from right away by simply let their marketing intelligence go to work for you, generating additional buyers at a higher transaction amount, all automatic, right? Like, it's said that way. I said it that way because I wanted to convey to the prospect that it does the work for you, right? Like what I talked about earlier, right? When I talked about in our last video, the pluralizing of the verb, it does the heavy lifting and the work for you. So, and then over here, before we jump in and get cranking, I want to express my gratitude. And so this is all about establishing social proof. There have been over 7,100 views of the first 2 videos and over 500 social shares and likes. And so thank you. Okay, let me see. I introduced you to specific, your VSL, by displaying the right man. By now, look, you see the same language pattern? By now, you already know that the marketers using a static marketing funnel are automatically sacrificing little bits of conversions at almost every point in their funnel. Saying it like it is an established fact and it's accepted in the market. You already know that the marketers using a static marketing funnel are automatically sacrificing little bit. You already know, right? That, and then we give it a proprietary name. Right? You can see this leakage quite easily for the marketers who are using a static funnel. They automatically leak out, right? And showing them, demonstrating what, offering proof for this. So I made a claim over here, right? They're automatically leaking profits, little bits of conversion. Here's the proof, right? And then this is kind of before, after. What marketing intelligence does for you is it ensures that there is no leakage, right? So that you get you're able to leverage 100% of your conversion opportunities, right? And of course, that's just another reason why using a smart funnel leads to, see how it's said, that's just another reason why using a smart funnel leads to greater conversion and sales numbers. The presupposition, why? Look, it presupposes that using a smart funnel leads to greater conversion and sales numbers. The only thing is why, right? And so then I say, let's get down to business. Let me see here. And then I go through the model. Now, let me explain. This is important and valuable for you. So there's two different types of sales that you can strive to make, or there's two different ways that you can position your solution, right? So you can position your solution as an improvement to what it is that they're already doing, or you can position your solution as a new opportunity, as a new thing, right? Not an improvement, not an enhancement. Well, I'll tell you that anytime that you can position your solution as a new opportunity, as a new thing, not simply an enhancement or improvement, you will always do better, because the prospects are a lot more likely to believe that a new thing is the answer, not that a slight improvement or little tweak or change to what it is that they're currently doing is the answer. It's not, the individual who's interested in losing weight, they're more apt to think that the diet plan is wrong and a new diet plan is the answer for them, not that if they make one change to their diet that's going to be the answer. And so what I'm doing here in this particular video is I'm presenting a new thing, a new opportunity, a new solution, and that new opportunity is the 8-point smart funnel, and that's why I'm going through what I'm going through. I'm going through each piece to show them what the new model is and why it works. Right? I introduced the dynamic VSL in here for the first time. and explaining the benefits of a dynamic VSL, right? Building value around the dynamic VSL, talking about all the analytics, and then going back, and all I'm doing is I'm going through these different pieces. I'm explaining and showing them what would be happening in their life if they had, in their business, in their marketing, if they had this new opportunity, this new solution, this new 8-point smart funnel model, and what the different pieces are. And if you look, each piece is unique. So you've got piece number 1, the intelligent lead capture page, right? That's new and unique to the smart funnel. You've got the interactive dynamic VSL, which is new and unique to most of the market. You've got behavioral triggered email follow-up sequence, which is also new for most of the market. Retargeting sequence, the dynamic offer stack, the order form abandonment process. This is one of the only ones that's probably not unique, but what I did was I showed how it ties in with these other pieces. It ties in with, the dynamic. And then I go into the second chance offer sequence. And so I'm really laying out for them what would be happening in their life, why it works so well, this new opportunity for them in here, and then I say, and I end it. Then I give a quick recap of what we talked about so far in video 1, what we talked about in video 2, and then what we talked about in video 3. And now I really just introduce for the very first time the fact that, look, in the next video an offer is coming. Here's what here's what you can expect. So this is the last couple of minutes of video 3, and this is the first time that anything about a product or an offer has been mentioned. And so I say kind of a little tipping of my cap, so to speak, to social proof, right? There's been crazy response to this video and interest, right? And then I do a takeaway, right? But the program is not right for every marketer, and before you jump it, what will be an insane over-the-top offer, I want you to fully make sure that this program is for you. And then I reference again, right? I've made special arrangements to purchase the tools, and so takeaway, I only want the right marketers to enroll for the right reasons. So in video 4, I'm going to lay it out for you without any hype and let you decide, and there you go. And so now in video 4, I want to just quickly show you what I really want to show you is, because you can review this script later on, is I want to show you the, let me see here. So I want to show you how I lay out the pricing. I lay out the pricing once, or the value. I really got to give credit where credit's due. I first learned this. This is the thing that I really want you to see. I lay out for you, I lay out the stack, and this I learned from many, many years ago, probably about 8 years ago, from Armin Morin. And so this is the value. Then I add more. I add bonus, bonus. This is the value over here now, right? And then I go into this section. If all this did for you was, let's say it didn't double your sales conversions, but if all this did for you is just double or triple your opt-ins and leads, would it be worth it? Now, what I'm doing here, what I want you to understand is I want you to understand this, that I'm asking these questions and I'm anchoring the answers to these questions to this price point, right? To this value, not to the, I didn't say, I'm only going to charge you today $14.97 or $9.97. Before I did the drop, I anchored the price. I anchored the answer to these questions to this price. And I'm saying, like, look, in essence, what I'm saying is, look, if this didn't even double your conversions, but all it did was double your, triple your opt-ins or leads, would it be worth it? Well, yeah. If all this did for you was speed up how quickly prospects are turned into, would it be worth it? And this, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it is tied to this. It's getting them to think about that value. In the company that I used to work for, we called this the left side, because it was, you're getting them to contemplate the value at that particular price point. Like if they were to pay $5,279 today, would it be worth it? So would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? Right? And then I go into how I justified the pricing, right? Like, look, what's one single properly set up funnel worth to you? Is it worth $3,000 a month? Is it worth $5,000 a month? $20,000 a month? And I kept these numbers low intentionally, right? And then right, I'm establishing the value of the outcome, right? Would it be worth a single $5,000 investment, $10,000, $20,000, right? And then I say, well, that, you know, there's a reason why marketers fly in and meet with me and pay $10,000 for a single day, right? And that's why $5,279 is a smoking deal, right? So I'm anchoring this and using this as the thing for them to consider. And then I say, but you're not going to pay that at all. You're not even going to pay half of that. You get everything. And then I go back and I list it again. You're going to get everything, right? A total value of $5,279, all for just one payment. And then I give the urgency. The deadline is this date, and I give a reason why. That's because the program begins, and then the call to action, and then one other bonus. Oh, I almost forgot. And then I talk about the t-shirt. And so you can go through and look at how I laid out the different features and the different benefits, but I really wanted you to see the stack, how I lay out, this is what you get. So, okay, so everything you get today is A that's worth this, B that's worth this, C that's worth this, a total value of blah, blah, blah. Okay, but there's still more. You get this that's worth, you know, this, you get another thing that's worth this. Okay, so now what you get today, you get this, and this. Each, you know, blah, 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 work total value X, but you're not going to pay X today. And then I go through justifying, I go through justifying the price, but you're not going to pay that today. Then I do the drop, explain why the drop, and then give a reason to respond today. And so with that, let's go back to the keynote. Okay, so we did a dissection of the video scripts. Now what I want to do for you is I want to talk a little bit about the slide creation, the kind of the construction of the actual keynote presentation. So one question that I'm asked all the time with our videos, and I was asked with the Smart Funnel Formula video series as well. So what do we use to create these videos? So I'll tell you right off the bat that all these videos, well, actually, let me say this first, that let me show you the tools and resources used. First of all, well, I'll just go through this list for you. So all the scripts I write in Pages. You can write it in, Microsoft Word. What we do is for every video, we record the audio first and separately. So we use Adobe Audition. I like Adobe Audition because you can remove the background noise without it having it impact your voice. But so I write the script, edit the scripts, go back, edit the scripts again, and then sit down with Adobe Audition and record the audio so that I can focus on tone, pace, volume, right? So focus on the delivery of the script. The microphone that I use is the Audio-Technica AT3035. It's plugged into a soundboard. I don't know why. It's plugged into a soundboard because it's an older mic and it uses the older plug. Today, you don't even need to use a soundboard, but I just wanted you to know what I used for this video series. All of the slides were created in Keynote. And so what happens is I record the audio, and then all the slides are created in Keynote, which is, I like Keynote on the Mac. If you use a PC, you would just use PowerPoint. And then what we do is we record, I play the audio, press play on the audio, press play on the Keynote, and press record on ScreenFlow. And now all I'm doing is sitting there, and as I'm listening to the audio, I'm progressing through the slides so that I first focus on the audio quality by recording the audio first, and then I go over and then I just focus on progressing through the slides while listening to the audio. The player that we used in the launch was Wistia, with the resumable video feature inside their labs section. So the ability to go back and resume the video where you left off was powered by Wistia. And we used, as I mentioned earlier, OptimizePress 2 for setting up all the pages, and Infusionsoft for list management and email. And so that was those were the tools. And so let me go over to, I want to open up a slide and show you something. Okay, so I'm looking at the handouts that I included for you, but the first thing that I want you to see is, so again, this is all created inside of Keynote. Now, one of the things that I did at the very beginning was I had these backgrounds made. So take out the Imagine and take out the Brain. This background is just one image. So what I did was I had, I think, 13 or 12 or 13 different backgrounds made. So if you look through this, you can see, right, like this is one background, then this blue with the little logo over here is one. You could see this is one, right? So all I did was just have these different, this is one right here, these different backgrounds done. And that's all it is. So there's, it's interesting because it's not anything fancy that I had to do. This just became an image that I just pasted on the page and set as the background. And so, right, you can see here's another one. And just so that it adds variation, right? Like I just liked it because, it adds variation. And so, right, it allows me to kind of, it just changes things up. It's not the same thing one after another after another. All of the transitions were, and everything, all the cool, motion and animation, that was just done right inside of Keynote. So, or you could do it on PowerPoint. So again, don't think that this wasn't done on any kind of fancy, video software. This was literally done with audio, Keynote, as if you were given a PowerPoint, and a screen capture recording software, and that's it. The other thing is that I typically like to stick with a color palette of 3 colors. So, like, in other words, I'm not going to start to use, like yellow and green and whatnot. And so you could see even like all the images, which I think we used Shutterstock for these images, you can see that we even kind of changed the image a little bit to make the people more orange, so that rather than like gold or rather than looking silver, so like we're kind of sticking with the same color palette as much as possible. It's not like there aren't lots of crazy colors. If you look, it's all it's the same, pulling from the same color palette. And so the other thing that I want you to see is you'll see that typically when I talk about something negative, I'll do it in red, and when I talk about something positive, I do it in orange, right? And so and look, the thing that I want you to see too is that when you use images like these little gold people and whatnot, like look at the appropriate, right? Like in this section, I said, as long as your funnel can do this, you're in the winner's circle. And I showed that. Then I say, therein lies the real problem for most marketers, right? So showing disappointment, right? Maybe you've tried all that. Like, see how the images, they support the message of the slide. It's not just like noise. And so, right, and stuff that supports it, right? As competition continues to increase, pointing guns at each other, and so just it supports the message. See, negative, so I made it red. Static marketing funnel, this is red, this is red. Let me see here, right? Now we're talking about the smart funnel, so it's orange. Low conversion rates, red. Also, I use not only I stick to a color palette of 2 to 3 colors, but I stick to 2 to 3 fonts max. That's it. So you could see, for example, like these are 2 different fonts right here, but then this is one font. This is one font, right? These are 2 different fonts, but it's the same fonts that I've been using. So you can see it's the same thing throughout. And again, if you look, right, static funnel, one size, one-sided message, red. Smart funnel, orange. Again, right, ordinary static funnel. And I think that's really it there. This was just, we made in Keynote, you can make the bullet an image. And so rather than that, I think that is, all these were just, screen captured. Yeah, very simple. And so, all right, let's go back to the PowerPoint. I've got a couple of other things that I want to share with you. So what we also did with Wistia was we made the last slide of video 4 a clickable image. It was a recap. It was a summary slide that had everything listed, and it had the offer. And so the cool thing is that if they picked up where they left off, right, whenever they finished the video, it would display this, whether it's on a mobile device, desktop, whether they, would watch the video, rewind, watch it again, it doesn't matter. At the end, this popped up and it gave a full recap of everything, and it was clickable. So even on a mobile device, they didn't need to look for a button. You can just click the video and it would bring them right to the order form. We, of course, used an ultra simple order form. This is kind of the model that we typically utilize. And so no more, we didn't, in this context, we didn't have to use a lot of copy to try to resell them. We did our job with the copy in the entire series and leading up to video 4. The last thing that I'll say is on the last day of the promotion, which was the 12th, what we did was I did a live Google Hangout at night and to answer questions. And so we did more, we had more enrollments on the last day than we did even on the first day, which is common, right? Because people wait until the last moment. But this was just what that page looks like. Non-buyers were invited to this, so buyers were not invited to this. Buyers never actually heard about this. Buyers never, once somebody bought at the full pay, they never heard about the three-part, the three-payment plan. And the last thing that I'll just say is, I did a couple of partner updates throughout the entire funnel for partners. And so there you have it. That is your pull back the curtain insider's peek. You now have a much deeper understanding than certainly the average individual of what we did and why we did it and how we did it and when we did it and all of that stuff. And so there you go. I highly recommend that you go back, you go through this, make sure that you pick up on all the nuggets shared with you throughout the whole thing. Most importantly, the thing that I want you to see is the strategy and how the strategy was executed over the course of the 4 videos and what that looked like, like in terms of the messaging, the sequencing of the messaging, what was being said and why it was being said, and so on. And so there you have it. Talk soon.